Welcome back to the Nikki Clarke Show. I'm your host, Nikki Clarke, and I am so thrilled that you are joining us today. The show is about transforming lives one story at a time, and we've been doing it for 17 years. That's right, 17 years of inviting people from all walks of life to share their heart stories, listening to some of the great journeys they've taken, the challenges they've overcome, what they've learned, and what they are sharing with us. And we have yet another stellar individual with us today, all the way from Zimbabwe. I'm so excited that she's here with us. We are joined by an inspiring leader whose work is making a powerful impact in Zimbabwe and beyond. Chido Maxine Mandizvidza is a Zimbabwean social advocate, communications professional, and emerging freelance writer dedicated to advancing women's rights, peace building, and community development. So Cheetah has built a rich foundation of experience across retail, interpreting victim support, communications, roles that have shaped her people-centered approach to advocacy. She is a global peace chain ambassador, a world citizen peace ambassador, and the proud recipient of the Silver Award at the Women Changing the World Awards, recognizing her contributions to gender equality and social inclusion. And Cheeto has collaborated with notable initiatives such as Zim-led Women and Women Ascension, strengthening her skills in leadership, entrepreneurship, and community empowerment. Please welcome Cheeto to the show.
Thank you for having
How are
me.
you today?
I'm great. How are you, ma'am?
Oh, very good, very good. It's really exciting to have you here, and excited to, learn more about your amazing journey. So, first off, congratulations for everything
Thank
that you've
you.
achieved. And yeah, we want to learn from you. What can we
Mm.
take from this conversation to, uplift our lives? So let's start off with your story. Can you share a
Okay.
bit about your upbringing in Zimbabwe and how it
hmm
shaped your passion for women's rights and community development?
Okay, so first of all, I grew up in a family of four siblings. I'm the youngest, with my mother and my father. My father was the pillar of the family. Then he fell sick with diabetes and it progressed quite quickly. Um, so because of that, we went through a lot of financial difficulties. My mother became the primary breadwinner and our lifestyle changed. We had quite a comfortable lifestyle. Then we had to move to the high density suburbs, which was quite it was quite the change. Now I managed to see women and the things that women went through in the I think in America we call them the ghettos. Women don't have a lot of opportunities. And also the healthcare system, when you don't have access to certain funds, it's quite demeaning. And I learned that we have to advocate for these things to make positive changes for our communities because the have and the have-nots disparities is quite huge in Zimbabwe, and that's something that I'm working on changing, such that if someone has illness before a family member, they should get the right health care regardless of their social economical status. So that's what led for me to start advocating, and that's part of my background.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. Uh, were there any pivotal moments or challenges that defined your path as a social advocate?
My father getting sick. My father getting sick showed me how different life can be when you have money and when you don't. And even how people can treat you. I saw that when you have money, people are very kind. They are more willing to do certain things. But when you don't, you seem like a burden. So that
Yeah.
was very pivotal. It actually changed how I saw things. I used to live in my little bubble. We used to go to restaurants, hotels, and then that lifestyle was snatched from us. And now there's this reality at 15. I almost didn't write my ZimSec exams because we didn't have the money to pay for that. And that was quite pivotal. I realized how important education is, and I advocate for children, regardless of their backgrounds, to have access to education. I actually have a child that I sponsor. She has some some learning and physical inabilities. So I also try to advocate for people with disabilities because I saw how life can change. You can grow up being able-bodied, but once you get disabled, that can really change your lifestyle.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's talk about more about your advocacy and social impact.
Okay.
So you've worked across different sectors, from
hmm
retail to victim support. Now, how have these experiences influenced your approach to social advocacy?
Okay, retail showed me how like I said before, they have and they have nots. Retail, the things that people can afford to buy to clothe their families, that some people actually go into debt just to be able to afford clothes. We don't really have a credit system in Zimbabwe. But there's certain stores I won't mention that do have that system. And sometimes people go overboard maybe to buy school uniforms and, necessities, not that they're splurging on things that are not necessary. And working with victim support showed me how much women are silenced. You'd find little babies being, if I can say the R word, and they're told to keep quiet because maybe the person who sexually assaulted them is the breadwinner, and they're silenced. And sometimes it's actually a neighbor who reports cases. So that really opened my eyes into how people can be so evil to each other, which is so, so sad. I saw the realities of life that my nephews and nieces, they grow up so sheltered, but some children don't have that, by virtue of being orphans or by virtue of not having their parents around. Sometimes parents go to South Africa or overseas to try and get like better lifestyles for their children, but and then they live with relatives, and those relatives mistreat children. So I saw the the good side and the bad side of humanity. So yeah,
Yes, yes. Thank you for sharing that. As a
yeah.
global peace chain ambassador and world citizen peace ambassador, what does peace building mean to you, and how do you bring it into your work?
Okay, peace building for me means trying to strengthen the way that humans associate with each other. There'll always be conflict, but we need to find ways in which we can resolve conflict amicably. And it also teaches us to compromise. So I also bring that into my work because in order to have an equitable society, we need to learn how to compromise. Compromise is very important, regardless of your religious background, your gender. I try to incorporate peace building because it has so many different dimensions. It's not just on a large scale like there's a war between Ukraine and Russia. No, even in the smaller things, office politics. So I try to contribute peace building to such aspects and spheres. Yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic. So, what are some of the most pressing issues facing women and marginalized communities in Zimbabwe today, and how are you addressing them through your advocacy?
Gender-based violence, poverty. A lot of women, I think most women have gone through sexual assault in different forms in Zimbabwe. So I use the stories that I write about, even let me allude to poverty. A lot, I also work with homeless women through the Eat Out movement. So that raised awareness to the issue of period poverty for homeless women because they don't get pads. Pads are not free in Zimbabwe. So I actually have people now since I started advocating for it to just send me we call it EcoCash. That's like an e-wallet. I don't know what you call it, PayPal, that
Mhm.
site. And they ask me to buy pads for the less fortunate. So that actually has helped advocating for such reforms like period poverty, ending it, and also gender-based violence through the Women
Mhm.
Ascension Institute. We're also able to talk about that and raise awareness about on that, and also how to try to eradicate that in the Zimbabwean context and what we can do if it means reporting, if it means getting someone arrested, if it means trying to compromise in certain aspects and bring justice, even though it might be difficult for the person. But yeah, stuff like that.
That's really amazing work. And I was interviewing a powerful woman like yourself, who was raised in the Dominican Republic. So they too have the understanding of period poverty, where many
Mm.
young women, as soon as they reach the age of menstruation cycles, they drop out of school because they are not able to afford, uh,
Mm.
pads and that. So um, she is like yourself, advocating for people to not only supply pads from Canada and beyond, but also she's hiring women in
Oh,
the
wow.
Dominican Republic who make reusable pads.
Mm. We
So
actually,
she's found a way to create employment and also to
mm,
have the girls take the pads and get back to school. So, yeah,
yeah,
I've
we
seen it
actually
in
had
action. It can be
that.
done.
Yeah, it can.
It
It
can be
actually
done.
can. Yeah.
So, you have collaborated with initiatives like Zim led Women and Women Ascension. Women Ascension. What
Ascension.
key
Yeah.
lessons in leadership and community empowerment have you learned from these experiences?
Okay, I'll take it. With Zoom Women Led, it's a business magazine. So that was also a magazine that helped me to network with different women from different backgrounds and bring their stories to the forefront. Then with Women Ascension, they taught me leadership skills, how to approach people, how leadership is servitude. That's one thing that I really learned from them, that in order to serve my community the best, even as a leader, I have to have an attitude of servitude. I have to get my hands dirty and I have to incorporate myself as a human being and not see myself as being superior because of accolades or labels, but I'm there to make an equitable difference, not just be there for the spotlight or to get prizes and awards. So that's what I learned from them.
Fantastic. So, how do you encourage others, especially young women, to take on leadership roles in social change?
I think they just need to start where they are. They need to research about their communities. It's very scary, I won't lie, especially in the economic status that our country has right now. Inflation, there's so many things going on, but you can start as one person. Start with one person. One person will cause a ripple effect, and you can touch thousands of people in the end. Like I was watching your interview with Dr. Iris, how she met that homeless person, that homeless man, and that became something else, and she became a mother of nations, and now she feeds thousands of people regionally. So yeah.
Yes. It just takes one person to change your
Yeah,
whole perspective, your
it
whole
does.
journey. It's quite amazing to see it
Yeah.
come into fruition. So, yes, excellent example. So, you're passionate about storytelling for social change. Can you share
Mhm.
an example where a story you told helped amplify marginalized voices or drive change?
Okay, so I have an article up on my LinkedIn account. It's Chido Maxine Mandizvidza. I was touching on period poverty for homeless women. So when I posted that, I started having people DMing me asking how they could actually help and where they could drop off the pads. And most of these pads, I took them to the Eat Out movement. There were actually about 4 people who contributed. So yeah, they made a change. They made a change.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
So, how do you balance being a communicator and advocate while ensuring the communities you represent are authentically heard?
I try to keep my advocacy and communication as authentic to the individuals as possible because it's so easy to try to portray a different narrative. I'm not sure if you know who I Show Speed is. There's this
Absolutely. I've
YouTuber.
been watching his
Yeah.
movement in Africa for sure.
So he came to Africa, and a lot of African Americans were really shocked because they thought Africa was primitive, and the narrative
Hmm.
that was being portrayed about Africa and the narrative that they saw for themselves was very different. So I
Very
try to
different.
keep things as authentic as possible, not to be disingenuous, and to allow people to have their voice and to tell their story as far and as willing as they are, not trying to push people more. I try to have people say what they're comfortable with in their own language and in their own terms.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, you received the Silver Award at the Women Changing the World Awards. How did this recognition impact your work and vision?
It brought visibility. It affirmed that I was doing something right. It's not something that I ever thought I'd get. It just happened. It just happened, but it brought a lot of visibility and people started asking questions. People got interested. Actually, if people in my DM trying asking me, how can we help you? What can we donate? So it was actually a good thing. It was a good thing because I actually have a foundation called Nakatsuko Foundation that I run. So it actually brought interest to that foundation. So yeah.
Amazing, amazing. So looking ahead, what are your goals for advancing gender equality and social inclusion in Zimbabwe and beyond?
I think I would love to advocate for days for girls. There's actually a group called that, but days for girls or for women where willingly, God willingly, we can get days for Zimbabwean women where maybe 3 days off when they're having their menses, because I have really bad menstrual issues. So sometimes I have to miss work because of that, because I get terribly
Mhm.
sick, and I lots of my friends, people in my communities suffer from the same thing. So that's something that I'd love to advocate for and bring to the forefront, because menstrual health issues are very they're there. People do speak about them, but nothing is really being done to bring it to the forefront. You have legislative um, rules written down, and having women being advocated for, and having free pads, because we have prophylactics being given up for free in toilets. So I'd love for pads to be given up for free. I actually have one of my friends, her name is Nyasha Manzol. She actually has a pad hub. So that's something that I'd love to have in public toilets, a pad hub where if someone just starts their period or someone can't afford to buy pads, they can get that. That would be something I'd like to bring to legislature. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that is fantastic. And
Yeah.
um, like I said, I applaud you for all the work that you're doing to eradicate barriers for women to receive support during their
Yeah.
menstrual cycle. In Canada, I'm seeing many bathrooms that
Mm-hmm.
now don't have those dispensing machines where you have to actually buy, the pads or whatnot. They're actually
Oh
available in
no.
a corner, and
Oh
you can just take
wow.
them as you need. So yeah, I'm seeing a lot of
Oh
establishments
wow.
doing that, and I think that is so important so that we can eradicate all these barriers for women just to have flourishing, healthy lifestyles. From
That's true.
whatever
That's so
background.
true.
It's so
Hmm.
important to do that. So final question, we're going to bring it home. And the question is, if you could leave one message for young people who want to make a difference in their communities, what would it be?
My message would be start where you are. Start where you are within your community. For me, there was something that took years. I've always wanted to help out, but I always used to limit myself. I'll tell myself I don't have enough money because I'm a civil servant. Um, the low wages, I'll tell myself maybe when I get a new job, maybe when I get a new job. But I actually had an encounter with my friend's pastor who told me God told me to tell you to start doing the work. And I was like, okay. And that message came twice. So I started where I was. I just prayed and I asked God to help me, and people started helping me from different spheres. And it was really just a calling being fulfilled, a purpose. I was walking inside my purpose and into my purpose. So
I love that.
start where you are, and if that's your calling, God will make a way from you. Doors will open up.
That is fantastic.
Yeah,
I like to use the words, if you can see it, you can achieve it,
so
and
true.
as you alluded to, God will um, provide the means once you have the vision. So thank you
Yes.
so much for sharing so candidly about your journey. I truly appreciate your time and what you were building, and we would love to support you. So please let us know how we
Um,
can do that. Can you tell
Thank
us
you
your
so
social media
much.
handles?
So I'm on Facebook, Chido Mandizvidza, and then on Instagram, but it's private, so it's Vessel of Favor. Then my LinkedIn is Chido Maxine Mandizvidza. So you could, and my email address is chidomaxine31@gmail.com.
Excellent.
So you can reach me there. Yeah. Oh,
Fantastic.
sorry, as
Chido,
well as my sorry to cut you, as well as my foundation page. It's called Kudlakatswa Foundation.
okay,
Kudlakatswa Foundation.
okay. Beautiful. Chido, a pleasure. Thank you again for your time, and
Thank you
hope
so
we can
much.
connect another time to get some more amazing updates about what you're doing in the world.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're more than welcome. You've been watching the Nikki Clarke Show with the amazing Chido Maxine Mandizvidza. And she is doing powerful things out of Botswana and beyond. So please connect with her on social media, follow her story, and support. So please stay transformed, stay informed, and never give up. Thanks again for watching.
Thank you.